Welcome to Let's Talk About It, the podcast that sheds light on the tangled web of dating in the modern age. I'm your host, Jennifer Evans, and today we're delving into the world of dating myths. From the rule of waiting 3 days to call after a date to the idea that opposites attract, we've all heard these so called guidelines for finding love. But where do these myths come from? And do they hold any truth? Join me as we dissect these myths, challenge the status quo, and ask the all important question: should there be any dating myths at all? We'll hear from our panel, share stories, and maybe even debunk a few of these dating do's and don'ts along the way. So, whether you're single, taken, or it's complicated, tune in as we unravel the myths that have long dictated the dating scene. It's time to get real about romance here on Let's Talk About It. So, let the conversations begin. All right. Let me say hi to my panel. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing
All
good.
good.
All
Feeling
right.
better.
We're doing good.
All right. Okay. Okay, good, good, good. All right. So, first question: what is a dating myth? Do you guys have any dating myths that you know of right offhand? Any dating myths, or I would say misconceptions or biases? Really, they're all mainly gender biased dating misconceptions. Does anybody?
The one that you mentioned on the opening, like the opposites attract, uh, they are um, prevalent here in in my country. So
So you
they
think that
believe
one's kind of true?
not really, but it's prevalent here. They believe that it's better to pursue someone who's like your opposite, like someone who complements you. So
How do they complement you if they are opposite?
yeah, because for example, someone is an introvert, find someone who is an extrovert, so that there will be quite a balance in your relationship. Not both would be, um, doesn't like the crowd and all that. So
Gotcha. I do have one quick question, real quick. So, do
Yeah.
you believe in that yourself?
no, no, not really,
Gotcha,
not
gotcha.
really.
Mm. Okay, so let's define a dating myth. A common dating myth is the belief that there's a one size fits all formula for finding love or attracting a partner. This myth also often leads people to think that they need to conform to certain stereotypes or follow rigid rules to be successful in dating. In reality, every individual and every relationship is unique, and what works for one person or one couple may not work for another. It's important to approach dating with an open mind, be authentic, and focus on building genuine connections rather than trying to fit in a mold. Uh, let's talk about body counts. Do y'all know what that means?
No.
No, you don't know what body count means?
Body count? Is
Yeah.
that
Body count.
If someone asks you, if someone asks you, Jenny, what's your body count?
Don't
oh
tell us.
like the number of people you've been in a relationship with or have been
Well,
involved with like intimately?
yeah,
Yes,
Is
right.
that it?
Sexually.
yes,
Let's
sexually.
I get
sexually.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would say physically, but we're gonna stick with sexually. Yeah. So okay, so that's body count. So is it accurate to say that a man's high body count doesn't hinder his ability to find women or be in relationship? Whereas in for women, uh, some women may disagree, arguing that the same standard isn't applied to them. Which I do agree that socially, yeah, if a woman has a high body, well, I mean, what would somebody, I think that your definition of a body count, what's high, I should say, is could vary vastly. But a woman, I would say a person with a high body count, if they're female, they are, I would say, yeah, I would say a man that's looking for marriage wouldn't want a woman with a high body count. That's in
So,
my opinion.
that's a true statement. But I have to flip it around and ask for a woman, real quick. Because I know for me and for Fritz, we both would say, yeah, if she got a high body count, we gonna pass on her
Hmm.
for marriage. So now I want to flip it around for women. If a man has a high body count, would y'all still look at him as a valuable, eligible bachelor for marriage?
Hmm. Personally, for me, no, because there are still women out here who are considered conservative and would rather have a man who is like um inexperienced. So there are still women out here who would go with that kind of
Did you say
um,
inexperienced?
Inexperienced?
experience sexually. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
I would say that was the wrong word to choose, but okay. Got you.
Kat, you agree with
Okay,
that
so
statement, Kat? Kat, you agree with that statement?
Inexperience? No.
Yeah. Okay.
So you would
Jen,
No.
want a
hold on.
man with a
Hold
high
on.
body count?
Jen, you agree with that statement too? You will deal with somebody who's inexperienced?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go back to an old podcast. One of the first podcasts I was on, I think, or I with you about, yeah, that we were talking about some guy who was like a 43-year-old virgin or something like that.
mm,
I would respect that. I would respect a man that
Nice.
could hold on. Yeah, definitely. But I'm not going to discount you know, Jesus, you can change. And you can't change your past. You can change your present, your future. You could, but you can't change your past. So to me, if that was their past and they're living whatever, then yeah, I wouldn't discount that person. That would be bad.
So
Still out
so
there dipping in, you know.
so to open to the panel, do y'all think that it's a double standard though? That men can have a high body count and it doesn't hinder their ability to find women, but women, if they have a high body
Yeah.
count, it hinders their ability to find men. Is that a double standard?
yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
who do you think is the person or the people that can change that standard though?
Men.
But why are you asking men if men can have the
I mean,
ability?
I
Go ahead.
mean, for society, it's like more acceptable. It's like acceptable for men to have more sexual partners rather than women because they are like accepted as polygamous. Yes, that's what the
I
society
know, but my
prefers.
question to you is who has the power to change that?
Mm,
Did you just said men, and I'm saying why men? If
power
men
to
is not
change.
the if men
I
is not the if there's a standard, who set the standard, men or women?
mm, I'm not so sure about that.
Men. Men.
Men set the standard, so the woman
Mm,
doesn't have any power at all to set the
Yeah.
standard
I think
themselves.
both should have the power to
No,
change the
for the
standard.
bias?
Yeah, but I'm
Uh,
saying women can be biased and say we're not going to deal with men who have a
mm,
high body count too.
But they can't
But,
marry. They
yeah,
can't make a man marry a woman if he still has that bias.
but they
They
can
can
choose
say it
not
all
to
that.
marry. Y'all
men
can
and
choose
women
not
can
to.
both say the
Hold on, y'all
same
can
about each
choose not to
other.
accept marriage from a man who has a
Mm,
high body count too.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that not true? Is that not a true statement?
But I'm saying the bias against women. Yeah, we can change our bias against men as women, but we can't change a man's bias against women
But
as
why would
women.
men want to change that bias if you calling it a bias?
It is a bias. It's a bias. Like, so if a man says that he feels like he can have a body count or get become an expert or get experience. That's what, because Jenny said inexperience. So if a man feels like he can get, loads of experience, but yet he does not want his potential spouse to do the same, that's a bias that actually another woman can't come up to him and change that. You can't change a
But a
person's.
woman can change her mindset on how she views the man in that regards. See, I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think men are going to change that value. And I think that if a woman wants to set a standard, they can have the power to set a standard themselves. Just like women have, to me, because when we talk about double standards and in this scenario, dating myths, like I I'm going to say this real quick, and Fritz, I want you to back me up and tell me if you agree with me or not. Women have, I think, when it comes down to our data sheet, women have way more re- ridiculous standards than men do. If you ask the average, he got to make a certain amount of money. He got to be a certain height. He got to look a certain way. He got all these, and then once the men have said what their standards is, oh, he's wrong for feeling that way. Am I right, Fritz?
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you. So I'm saying a woman like, yo, if y'all, to me, a man can't, if a man is 5'5", he can't change that. Now I mean, he could be a good guy, he can make a decent amount of money, but he can't change the fact that he's 5'5". So you wouldn't talk to a man because he's 5'5"? Because he's shorter than you?
Yeah, I watch a lot of these podcasts where when they ask a woman what's gonna be their ideal man, and just like what you've said, they're gonna give their like all of the physical idea from a guy. Like I want him to be a 6'6", so that when I wear heels, I'm not taller than him. He's making $100 a year or something like that, and then and all of a sudden when they ask the man, what's gonna be your non-negotiable, he just wanted to have someone who he wants to provide, he wants to protect and all that, and then all of a sudden they ran at him that what, like why why is that, like it's not something that you you not typical in traditional and all that.
Yeah, they say now. I've shared this with Kathy a couple of times. I think Kathy, you was the main one that came up with this topic, right? I sent you the topic, and then you came up with it.
Yeah.
But I sent something like this to Kathy, and was watching some of the stuff, and a lot of these women they shorten it now. Say a lot of these women are the Lulu.
Hmm.
The Lulu stands for delusional.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these women are now Delulu. That's the new word for it. The Lulu. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. So like I think women have the power to change some of their circumstances when it comes down to some of the stuff. As far as like y'all saying it's a bias for a man, but I think a woman's biases are delusional. A lot of the stuff that they say are delusional. Not all, but there are a lot of delusional women out there.
No, I'm gonna say I agree. I've told a lot of my friends that that your list should be actually more less of aesthetics and what looks good on IG or whatever. I didn't say that necessarily to them, but it's like most people want to visually be appealing to someone, and that's it. Like, and that doesn't
Right.
work, especially in long-term relationships. And then you have to realize that we're people, we're all people, we're all human, no one's perfect. Even if you get a 6'6", why, like, because a lot of my friends are short, so why at 5'2" do you need a 6 foot man? Like, literally. Why?
Because
Why?
that's what culture is telling them. It's like,
It is. It's the Disney.
yeah, right.
They want the Disney. They want to be the Disney princess, but then they don't. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
They do. They want the Prince Charming, but
I was
I mean,
I was watching this video, and they said a lot of these women want the princess story, but
mhm.
they don't want to be the queens. They just want the princess story because in the queen story, the queen got to do some work.
Yep. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
princess don't have to do work. The princess just comes and gets scooped off her feet. Why not be queens? Why be princesses?
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, also, I mean, the
Less
thing
work, I
is
guess.
also, but I'm gonna say, let me make my point that even if those women, right, this woman who has a high body count, um, accepts the to man, with a regular job and regular car or whatever, all the regular stuff, it doesn't matter if he still wants to. He doesn't want a woman with a high body count. Because if he doesn't, then that's it. There's nothing, like, you understand what I'm saying? She can change her biases, but that's still not going to impact what the way a man feels. If men
Well,
don't want a woman with a high body count, then
well, here's the thing, though.
all they can do is just not get a high body count.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Fritz. Right? These women feel that way when it's about them. But Jen and
Mhm.
both Jens, if you were your sons, would you promote your son to date a woman with a high body count?
I mean, I don't really get into my son's
I know, but I'm saying if
stuff
you
like
knew that
that.
this girl had a high body
So
count,
let's say I knew that my son's girlfriend was like a stripper or something like that, or like an
she had a high
escort.
body count.
Okay, then I would just be like, man, just be careful. I would be more so as like, is she gonna change and want to be Christ-like? That's what that would be my main concern. So whether or not she has a high body count, like I said, you can't change somebody's past, and you can't really necessarily, when you fall in love with someone, that's why you have to guard your heart.
Say he wasn't in love with her. He just brought her home for the first time. Like, it's
And
not. He didn't fall in love with her.
I would just be like, my thing is she a Christian? Does she love God? Is she seeking, that would be my main thing. I wouldn't look at her past. I can't judge her past.
So you saying that men are wrong for judging females past?
No, I'm just saying that to me, you can't judge if I stole something, that doesn't make me a thief today. I was a thief when I stole it. But that doesn't make me a thief today. If I was an alcoholic, they say
I
you're still
agree with
alcoholic,
everything
but
you
they
said.
recover. But I'm a recovered alcoholic, so I can't change my past, only my future.
I agree with everything, but your past does make you who you are today. So
Okay.
So it doesn't have to necessarily be about judging you.
I think
Right.
it can shape your
Outlook on life and how
Yeah.
you perceive things.
but I don't think
Because
it
to me,
makes who you are.
yeah, I don't think it makes who you are neither. But I do think that in order for you to understand how people react to certain things, you're gonna have to get deep into those type of conversations so you can have that type of understanding of why a person is reacting in the way that they do. And I would say it's the flip side. If a man has a bias, and y'all can look at it as a bias and say, hey, he doesn't want a woman with a high body count, I think y'all should also try to understand why he is making that decision.
Oh, I get it. To me, what do people say? What's meant for me is meant for me. I honestly, I met this guy at church one time, and me and him hit it off really well. And when he found out that I had children, he didn't have any children. He was never married. I was married, had children. And he was like, he didn't want that. He wanted a woman with a zero body count, with no children, never been married. And that's what he wanted. And all I could do was respect that. I was like, yeah. And I felt like he was struggling with that. Like, he was like, man, this is crazy, because he kept calling, and I'm just like, I don't know what I can do for you. I mean, what if that's what you want? If you want to marry somebody, I'm not wasting time, because apparently we're not going to get married. So ain't no point in us
Wasting time. Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you calling?
I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. So to me, it's not. I mean, I call it a bias because I feel like when it's a bias, that means you're not considering everything else. You're not taking the whole, like a person's whole situation. I don't feel like life is black and white. Some things are. I mean, there's right and wrong. But then, like I said, you can't look at everybody as black and white, or just, and cut somebody off just because of one thing.
True indeed.
Look at
think
Denzel
for me,
Washington. He is not 6 feet. So, go ahead. What were you going to say, Jenny?
No, I think for me, both genders can set all the standards they want, but then when it comes to love, they can't help who they fall in love with. So everything, every standard they have set would change. I guess they meet the one.
When they open their minds and hearts. Okay, let's read this first scenario. We're going to go over two scenarios. Scenario one, John and Sarah are both in their mid-20s. There's they're at a social gathering and the topic of dating comes up. John casually mentions that he's had several partners over the years, and it's never been an issue for him to find women interested in him. Sarah, who has had a similar number of partners, noticed a subtle shift in the way some people perceive John compared to her. While John still seems an eligible bachelor and desirable, Sarah senses judgment and a stigma attached to her dating history. We've pretty much like went over that. That's exactly what we're talking about. Let's go with the first question though. We have some questions that go along with that scenario. So, question one: is it fair for society to perceive John and Sarah differently based on their similar dating histories?
I want to hear what somebody else say first. I want to jump in, but I want to hear what somebody else reaction. Kathy, you go first. Kathy, what you think? You the one that wrote this question out, or you started these questions off. So what do you think?
Yeah.
It's
I
fair?
don't think they should be judged because they both had yeah. No, it's not fair. They should be both judged, both of them.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it just doesn't seem right because both of them have gone through their own unique journeys in love, but then society has, uh, judged them differently. So it's like playing the same song on a different instrument and make you want to make it sound like the same. So I don't think it's fair.
Okay.
What about you, Fritz?
Yeah. Um, what the society perceives about dating is always gonna be most at least most of the time would be like defensive against you because of like what we have mentioned earlier about your history and all that, because they don't know who you are right now, but then when they find out about your past, then definitely they're gonna base the judgment or the perception or perspective about you from that. So yeah, I believe it's not fair. It's not always going to be fair. I mean, most of the time it's going to be unfair whenever you tell about your history and tell about your past and your experiences with dating, and it's always going to be leaning in towards judgment better than grace.
Hmm. Mhm.
Yeah, I want to say, is it fair for society to perceive John and Sarah differently? I'm going to answer the question as yes, it is fair. I I think it's uh, I think it's so I don't want to contradict myself. I think it's an unfair scenario.
Mhm.
I think it's unfair for the situation,
Mhm.
or based off of how things are.
Mhm.
I think it's fair. And I said this to y'all one time before, I think on this particular podcast. Woman controls access to sex. Men controls access to relationships, right? So because women control access to sex, I think that a woman, because you are the one that in control of choosing if a man is going, you're going to sleep with a man or not. Matter of fact, let me just scratch that and say this: if I was growing up, if I had kids that had a son and I had a daughter,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I would train and raise my kids totally different. I would raise them understanding how society is going to perceive them from the very beginning. You know what I mean? So obviously, and maybe I'm wrong in saying this, like, but if I would be a lot more protective of my daughter than I would of my son, because I understand how society is and how things will be, and my raising of them will be raised from a different understanding of how I would train and teach them. You know what I mean? Um, because of that perception, and I think that perception should start at home. I think our situation in society as a whole is just that we are a lot of parents are single parents and raising kids in a single household, and some of these parents should be parents in the first place.
Mhm.
So it's just like a generational curse that's going on, and our society is accepting of a lot of things that they shouldn't be accepting of. So, but because of all of that, I feel like it's fair based on the circumstances that is being presented to us. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I actually agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to hold off. So let's go on to number 2. Should individuals be judged differently based on their number of past partners, regardless of gender? We kind of
Yeah, I would say
answer that.
my answer is yes.
Mhm. Mm.
Mm, So rebuttal, man. I'm open for the rebuttal.
No.
For any one of y'all,
No.
do y'all disagree with that? Go ahead, Jenny. You
Who's to
disagree, Jenny?
judge? Why judging?
I don't think
That's not a true statement, 100%, Kathy. So I'm not going to agree with you on that.
I think it's not
And
about a number. It's not a numbers game when it comes to the the matters of the heart, I guess, um because the number of relationships you've had shouldn't dictate your worth or potential in a
mm,
or in a present or future relationship. I guess because
It
you
doesn't. That's this is my
have
point that I'm trying to explain to you, Jenny. It doesn't, but it does.
it does.
It's unfair, but based off of the situation, it's fair because of how the situation is presented and how it is.
Okay, let me move on to number 3 real quick. Are there underlying societal biases that contribute to the disparaging perceptions of John and Sarah? Yeah, I understand. I think, well, I think it's all this is like this myth or, yeah, myth or misconception or whatever you want to say. This is actually kind of like biblical. It comes from like in the Bible. If like a daughter was given to marriage, look, if the bed sheets, like the the marital bed, if she wasn't a virgin, then she would get
Off of the
stoned. I
head.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also in the Bible, at one point, the men were allowed to have multiple wives. So that's where it is historical. I mean, it does. That's where it leans to that. It leans, and I'm going to say this too, real quick. Why I agree with Aaron is because let me say, because I have more than one body that I've been married before. And I'm going to say there was a situation just recently where I needed my ex-husband's assistance with something. But and I knew that he could help me. But before I even went to think to ask him or whatever, I needed to ask my husband, ask my current husband if I could go to him, if I could approach him and see what he needed, because it's like weird. It is really weird. It is. It's really weird. Even when I'm gonna say that even we have family functions and everything is cool, but there is there's a line that I'm definitely not going to cross because I don't want to upset my husband. I don't want to upset my husband. It's just better to just be with one person. One person, yeah, just to be with one person. One love.
Well, also biblically, from a man, from a man's a teaching in the Bible, a woman is supposed to be a man's prize, his glory. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm saying if you have multiple body counts, there's no way that you can. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it does make it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it hard for you to be
Mm-hmm.
a glory situation. You a
Yeah.
story, not a glory.
I'm glory. But yeah, but it does muddy the waters. It does
Yeah.
muddy. It complicates. It just honestly, without trying to be, without trying to even, I'm not going to offend myself. It just makes it complicated. It's better just when
But I
it's
see.
one on
I
one.
don't throw you into that situation because you.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter. It
I
still is
understand.
the
Yeah,
same
I
thing.
understand what you're saying, but we talking about bodies. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know your body count like that, nor
I
do I
got
want
like,
to know.
no, I'm just joking.
But but I'm saying, but I do know that you was married. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, in your
yeah.
situation. So
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
I don't know if I can consider that. I'm
it is.
considering
That's good.
bodies as bodies, whole bunch of bodies.
Okay.
Your situation, you can have less than 10 and still be in your situation.
Yeah,
True story.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to number 4. Does John's experience suggest a double standard in how men and women are perceived regarding their dating histories? Yes, it does. It does. There's a double standard. It is what it is. Yeah.
Fritz, is it a double standard, Fritz?
I believe it's always going to be double standard when you impose a standard to somebody else's, but then you're not fulfilling it or like sticking with it as well. So, for example, we were talking about this earlier. When is it a double standard if we consider it difficult for women to date other guys if they have a higher body count than men's? I think it's gonna be a double standard if men would say, yes, that's a double standard, but then they want to have a woman who has no or less body count, but they themselves are like accumulating more body count as men.
Mhm.
So if I'm gonna say, for example, I want someone who has no body count, who has no experience, who has no sexual history and all that. But
Nothing.
then as a man, I am willing, or I am going to places where I can accumulate body counts and all that. I think that's gonna be uh definitely a double standard when I'm imposing that standard to somebody else's, but I am not applying it to myself. So
Hmm.
All right, let me jump in real quick
Mhm.
and throw the monkey in the wrench. I'm going to say no. I don't think it's a double standard. Here's my biblical reason why. All right,
Mhm.
in the Old Testament and it was taught in the New Testament as well. But in the Old Testament, a husband and a father was responsible for his daughters and his wives. Responsible from the time that they make a choice and the father hears about it. If he agrees with it or disagrees with it, you know what I'm saying? The final decision making of it rides on the father. To me, I gotta be responsible for me and be responsible for you. I have to answer the God for me and I gotta answer the God for you. So to me, because I'm held accountable for your actions when standing before God, I don't think it's a double standard for me to have to choose wisely who my partner is that I got to be responsible for. That's not a double standard to me.
But
yeah, I agree on that point. But
men
all I'm
and
saying
women
is,
I'm not
are
disagreeing. I'm
never
not
going to be
disagreeing with you at
equal.
all, Fritz. I understand what you said. I
yeah,
can't hold you accountable for something that I'm not being held accountable for myself. I understand everything that you said,
right,
and
right.
in that, if you're propositioning the situation in that way, that is a double standard. But if we just generally speaking, right, and the reason why this whole thing is, oh well, it's unfair that it's a bias. Well, it's unfair that I got to stand before God for your actions, and I have to stand. I got to stand before God for not only my actions, my kids' actions,
Right.
and my wife's actions. I got to answer for God on how I raise and teach my family. That responsibility is on my burdens and shoulders. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure, for sure.
So to me, that means then I have to be extremely wise on how I choose who I'm going to be responsible for. Jenny, you disagree with that, Jenny?
No, I agree.
Yo,
Go ahead.
Kathy was saying something.
Yeah, go ahead, Kat. What you were saying?
We all know that men and women are never going to be equal. So, the society, it's okay for men to have body counts, and women should not have like high body counts. You see?
But is it an equal thing? Because a lot of women said, like, Cat, me and you was on the phone today talking to a young lady. Equality. People want equality all the way until it's said for them to be responsible,
Mhm.
especially females. I'm gonna say that for in my personal opinion. I'm not. I don't want to highlight females, but like I was just before we just started this podcast, I was looking at a guy. He was sitting at a table. Um, all these girls prior to it, they went out for their birthday. All the girls was talking about equality and this, that, and my man was recording it.
Mm.
And then when the bill came for dinner, they wanted him to pay. And he was like, "What about equality? Like, why can't y'all pay? Why can't everybody pay for their own meal?" And the
I
girls was
saw
like,
that.
"Now I'm leaving. I'm getting up and leaving." And I'm like, "Yo,
That was
y'all,
senseless.
yeah, y'all want equality until it don't benefit y'all."
Hmm.
And only I ain't gonna say only women do that, but it's highlighted more when with women than it is with men.
Mm.
Why everybody so quiet, man? Like, why y'all getting? Whoa.
I don't think we can ever, achieve equality, and we will always have these double standards when it comes to how men and women would, engage in certain stuff. It's like there are like two sets of rules for men and women, and for men who has a lot of body count, they're like hailed as a hero for their conquest, while women are like judged like they've committed a crime, some sort of a crime. So
So so
I don't think we
so
ever
so
achieve
Jenny,
that.
is it right? Is it right though? Because
Unfortunately,
that goes back
unfortunately,
to my
no.
argument. It's not right.
Unfortunately, yeah, no, it's
So
not
what would
right.
make it? So what would make it right then? That's let's talk about how we could debunk and solve this. What would make it right?
That's a difficult question to answer.
Why? Because it's not difficult to
Whether
me.
whether whether we set things straight and debunk this myth that we have, the societal
But
bias is still be there.
well, if we could make it right, what would be the responsible way to make it right? Fritz, what would be the responsible way if women are saying that it's wrong, it's a double standard that they could sleep with a whole bunch of people and still be looked at as not a prize, but a man could sleep with a whole bunch of people and be looked at as a still a prize. How can we fix the standard?
I think um I think the quick fix for that is, well, it's not really a quick fix because it's gonna be hard for for us to impose this, but get rid of the hookup culture where you just want to be to get laid, and um because it's gonna it's gonna boil down into how you view sex and marriage, because a, lo- most of it, or a major factor, will affect your perspective on dating and how you perceive and how you value sex in marriage. If you view sex as like a hobby, or like a prize where you look good, or you feel good about yourself, you feel validated because you are able to get a higher body count, and tell to yourself that I'm acceptable, I'm attractive, I'm pretty, I'm good, because a lot of men want to have sex with me. And view marriage as something like, I'm gonna do marriage when I'm ready, and but for now I'm gonna I'm gonna train myself and have all the experiences that I can have before I choose the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life. Then I believe definitely it's gonna continue and propagate on and on if we will not be teaching the youth, the kids, the teenagers and just basically demonstrating to them what is a sacred marriage, or what is the importance of marriage if they are not seeing it with their parents, if they're not being taught about it in their schools, in our schools. Definitely, they're gonna be running wild for a long time.
See, here's what I want to add to this too, real quick. I think, to me, the people that can make the change of this is the woman. All right, because of the simple fact that you ladies control access to sex. If To me, if y'all prioritize, even if we say prioritize a marriage, right? If you ladies are saying that you will wait till you get married for sex, there's an opportunity that less men will be attracted to you at the younger age. But I am 100% guaranteed that those men will circle back to make you their wife. You understand what I'm saying? I'm 100% positive that they'll circle back and make. So if you're not accessible to them for fun times, at the end of the day, they would definitely circle back. Yeah, I could sit here. I could tell you. I say this. I say this. I grew up in an urban environment. I would
Mm,
say a lot of the women that were cool when I was growing up
mhm.
and got a lot of attention and attraction. Attractive, attractive men. A lot of men. Um, you see them now. A lot of them are single, got multiple kids, and no marriage, no nothing. And the ones that were geeks and nobody was interested in, those are the boss chicks now, man. Like, they're the ones who can have. And I think it's even like that with some of the guys, some of the geeky guys who was nerds in school when they finally reached their peak, and the cool guys, they still hanging on the corner, not doing nothing, kind of like bums to a certain degree. You know what I mean? And the guys who didn't get a lot of chicks are now able to get the boss chicks. So it's just, to me, it's like you have. I think women have control over of setting a new standard if they want to set it, because men are meant to chase. That's our nature, to hunt. So we're going to chase,
Mm.
but just because we chase, don't mean that we're going to be willing to settle. You know what I mean? So what you gonna say, Jen?
Oh no, I,
Oh,
I mean I agree with you, and I mean, but to me, if those women who I wouldn't let anybody circle the block on me though. I mean, if
true.
I'm not gonna let them go around and go ahead and hit every the other chicks and then circle the block on me. If you're gonna, if they're gonna hold.
Well,
If someone's chased, then I would want someone who's chased. I mean, if they have, the discipline and to wait till marriage.
but a lot of guys probably not even chase because they know how you hold yourself down. Like, you know what I mean? And so they might wait, shoot the shot later on in life and circle the block because they know that if they did shoot their shot first the first time, they already know what it's going to be. And so, and I could say it, tell you now, even with me, there's a lot of girls that I know, like, yeah, she a good girl. I'm good on her right now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But when you see them years later, you like, she bad, yo. I need to, you know what I mean? Highlight her or whatever.
Hmm.
And that's just what it is, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're on 6. We're gonna.
Let's jump to the next scenario.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So scenario 2. In a cozy cafe, a group of women sat in a little group chatting away about various topics. Then a couple of guys joined in, discussing matters of the heart. As the conversation developed, one of the men dropped a question uh, that caused some curious looks. Uh, the question was, would you have sex with your favorite celebrity? The women looked around, exchanging glances and chuckles. Most of them shook their heads, replying with a resounding no. But deep down, they all knew it was just a front, a cap on their true desires. After all, who could resist the allure of a celebrity crush? So, Would you do it? Jenny, would you sleep with your celebrity crush if you had a chance? Well, you would be sleeping, but who's your
Um,
celebrity crush, first of all?
Yeah, Cat, because Cat wrote this question out too. So
Oh,
Cat
I said
Cat
Jenny
Cat
first.
wrote the scenario. So Jenny, you go first, and then I want to hear where the birth of the scenario came from.
um, so you were asking about my celebrity crush. It
Yeah, who's your celebrity crush?
yeah, it, it was Brad Pitt.
Mm. Okay, all right.
But
So if Brad Pitt shoot a shot, you would take him up on his offer.
if I was single and not hooked up with anybody, and there are no strings attached, I'll be honest with you guys. That's a
Okay,
one-time thing.
Brad.
Is that you,
Who
Jenny?
wouldn't?
Okay, Brad Pitt.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
hot.
You said if I was single. What about you, Kathy?
I'm not doing that.
Who is
I
it?
wouldn't do it.
Who is your
Be
who is your
honest.
who is your crush?
The Weeknd, you know him?
The Weeknd? He's your crush?
The Weeknd.
Yeah, I know why you. I see why you ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Mm.
The Weeknd? Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right, what about you, Fritz? Who's your
Do,
crush?
do, do I have a problem if my celebrity crush is a man?
I mean, somebody does.
Your celebrity crush. It better not be Brad Pitt too, man.
No, actually, it's Jackie Chan.
Ah, man.
Okay, all right.
That's your celebrity crush though, for real, or you just playing around with it?
No, not really. I don't know. I don't know if I have a crush on someone as a celebrity, but um, if we're talking about like because my crush is, for example, like Charlie Kirk or Jordan Peterson and all that, but
Well, hold on.
but
What's your definition of crush, man?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to make sure I'm on the
This
same
might be
page.
like
with
the
you.
physical.
Yeah,
like
because you are known for saying some funny things, and then we have to correct it afterwards. So, what do you mean by crush, man?
like uh an attraction or like admiration of
No,
someone.
not
No, I
like.
say attraction and admiration is two different things.
Mhm.
So when you
Yeah,
say
but
attraction, what do you mean by attraction? Define the attraction part.
you're attracted to them like physically, right?
Ah, man,
You
it's getting worse
you
and
want
worse.
you want how you're attracted
You-
to how they look. No, this is for me. I'm not playing.
right.
This is really how
You're
I see it because
attracted to. You're
But
attracted.
you mean like you admire them, like I like let me see. Oh gosh, let me see.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
It's different for you.
they're
It's a
they're
different
they're, they're
bias. Let him finish
thinking.
his.
Yeah,
Let him finish his thing.
admiration is like, for example, I like the
No,
way
no, no, hold on.
No.
they're
Before you go to
thinking.
admiration, we can't skip past admiration. We gotta go finish the attraction.
Sure.
Attraction. Hmm.
Yeah, finish the attraction part. You said physically attractive.
Yeah.
But-
Explain that part. You gotta elaborate on that.
It's not
Like
good.
for
to
exa-
say.
like
I
for
don't know if that's the
example.
right words, man. That sounds
No,
kind of low.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely understand. But for me, for example, I'm attracted to, let's say, Chris Bumstead, like the five-time Olympia champion. I'm attracted because he looks very good. Yeah, I like I like the way he looks, right?
Mhm.
But there's no desire for me, for example, to I want to be in a relationship with him.
Right.
I'm attracted to his body as a man because
Yeah, I
that
can't
yeah,
take it
that
no
sounds
more.
awkward. I
No,
know,
no,
I know.
no,
That
no, no,
sounds
no,
awkward.
no. I think the
No,
women would know. We get it. We get it.
I don't get it.
We get it because that's what I was gonna say. Like I admire, like you admire someone's. Like I would like to have I don't know, that somebody's hair, or like I like that on them. I think that looks good would love to have somebody's abs or whatever like that, something like that. Yes, that's attractive to me, and it would be attractive. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I want to, to have sex
Right.
with that person. Yeah,
Right.
I got you. I know what you're saying. I got it. When you put the
So that's crush. That is crush for
no,
me.
no, no, no,
He said for
no,
him. Listen,
no,
bro,
no,
Brody,
no.
we
You
not
can't
let.
do
I'm
that.
not Brody. Hold on, Brody. I can't let you rock. I can't. We gotta change the lyrics on this song, man.
This
The
Why?
verse.
attraction means you want to sleep with that person. You're attracted to them,
That doesn't necessarily follow though.
but
Oh
that's
well,
that's not
Brody.
what we're defining it
But
as.
yeah, but if you look for the definition of attraction, it doesn't go that down that hole.
Your
Well, let's
crush.
not
We
even
said
talk
your
about
crush.
holes, man. Let's talk about holes neither, man. Let's start all over. Let's start all over.
See,
Let's
now
start
the
all
holes
over,
has
man.
a different implication now.
Let's start off. Let's
So
just say you
let's just
admire.
use
Let's
words as simple as they
admire.
are.
Let's use admire. You admire somebody. You
Sure.
admire another guy.
Yeah.
I like that. Sounds very Christian. He's admirable.
Admirable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He has noble desires. He has noble discipline and all that. I admire him.
yeah.
Right.
All right, cool. I like that. That's a okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
The attraction part,
I know what you mean though.
I'm not cheerleading. I'm not even letting you cheerlead on that one.
I'm not cheerleading, but I get where he's
Let's
coming
move
from.
on, man. You got 9 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, okay. So, Aaron, who's your celebrity crush?
I don't have no celebrity crush,
You
man.
don't have any celebrity crush?
Not when I say crush, I'm not crushing. Like I'm not. There's women that I find attractive, but I don't desire them or lust for them in a way that, like, if I was single or married, it didn't matter. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna jump because they said, oh, let's go. I would be more worried about I'm gonna catch a charge or something like that. This is too good to be true. This is a crazy setup. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be on it like that, in my personal opinion.
Okay. I feel
But that's just me. I'm not,
I don't have any celebrity crush. I don't have anybody that I would like want to. But okay, so let's wrap this up with asking, who do you think believes in dating myths more, men or women?
woman.
Fritz,
Same.
Women.
same. Okay.
Women. Women.
So what about you, Jennifer? Man or woman?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say.
Gotta say
I don't
something.
know. I'm neutral. I have
Ain't
no
no
idea.
neutral. What you mean? You pick
No,
one.
I
man.
think that women. I agree with you guys. What you guys said earlier. Whoever said it, I think Aaron. Like women have these long, unrealistic lists of the perfect partner, like of their desired partner, and they're unrealistic. Those are mythical creatures that they listed on there. Yes.
Right.
I get that part. So I do agree. If we're referring to it like that, yes. But as far as like, opposites attract, I think because honestly, I think opposites. I think you do. Like there's like, yeah, like I'm me and my
As much
husband, we
as you
like
can
the same
argue,
thing, but we're
as much as you can
different.
argue opposites attract, to me, even in that statement, y'all got to still have some core values
Yes,
that
definitely.
Yes.
line up. So
Definitely.
I don't. That's why I don't agree with the opposites attract situation, because at the heart of it all, you still got to have some things that y'all like.
Cover
Y'all
it
need
up.
to understand. Like if you, especially if you want a family and stuff like that, y'all got to have some values on
Shared
how y'all gonna
beliefs.
raise your kids and stuff like that. Like
So let's say this. I'm gonna say when opposites attract, it's the iceberg. So the iceberg that you can see on top, that's the opposite part. So like a dark-skinned woman with a light-skinned man, or whatever, vice versa, like that, or a loud person or more assertive person and a calm, quiet, or like that. But then of course the iceberg that you can't see, the rest of the iceberg underneath, all the real stuff. Yeah, they have more things in common. Yeah, they definitely have to have things in common for it to last. Or else
so
it's
I
just
don't
not
know.
the
I'm
same.
not agreeing with y'all, but I'm gonna let y'all ride on that one. You know what I mean? It's not one that I care to fight with.
Yeah, I think it's both. Both people, both sexes, believe in these misconceptions.
Actually, I don't believe in none of that. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. To me, you fall in love with who you fall in love with, man. Like I'm not into no, oh, you're a sign and I'm a sign
Definitely
and
not
this.
into
Like
that.
I'm
Yeah.
not into none of that, man. Like yo, like I rock with you. You know what I mean? Like you rock with me. I don't. I'm not interested in all that. Yo, the stars and this and your birthday is on this date and my birthday is on that date. Me personally, you know what I mean? I'm not into all of that. To me, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, is yo, if I can rock, if you can hold me down and I can rock with you, then that's what it is, man. You know what I mean? And to me, just being practical with the decision making. Like me and my wife, when I got married to her, I mean, I just to me everything lined up and made sense. And one can argue me and her are totally opposite. You know what I mean? But to me, on the flip side of that, I can also say, yo, she chose me and I chose her. It wasn't that we was opposites attracting us. We chose each other. You know what I mean? And it was a decision. You know what I mean? That we both choose to make. So it wasn't about opposites attracting.
Right. I
Yeah.
have a question though that I just want to everybody answer. Like for example, I was thinking how many of us or how much did we think about a scenario, because we Jennifer was talking about like a list of mythical creatures that
Mhm.
women are listing and all that. But I just want to know if not only the standards that we are listing, but how many of us or who is like thinking a lot more of this, is it men or women, when like we're thinking about a scenario, like a scenario in our head, like for
Mhm.
example, if I want a man, I want a man who's gonna do this for me and all that, or as a man I want a woman who's gonna like a picture in our heads.
And you know the answer to this question already, man. It's women. Women think about this more.
I think men do too. I wouldn't say men, but I think that women just are like more of just
Men know that.
elaborate, just very
No,
unrealistic.
I
They can be
disagree with you.
unrealistic.
Men's list is simple, man. I just want peace.
Mm.
Most men comes
And a low
down to
body count.
yeah, but
And
but
then they
yeah,
want her to dress a certain way. I mean, men
not
have ways
necessarily. Not
that
all
they
men are like that. Not all men are
some
like
men
that.
like some men like women that and they want them to get they're okay with them having enhancements. Other men are like, nah, I don't even want that. I don't want that. I think people just have
But
their
it's all realistic. But I mean, at the end of the listen to what I'm saying. At the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
If you was to write down all the men's needs and wants, and you write down a list, and you write down a woman's list, the men's list can be summed up in like with 5 line category, whereas a woman list would be like 30 lines of a whole bunch of fluff.
not all women, but yeah, I get you. The majority of women, yes, I believe I agree. I believe, yeah.
So if you agree with me, then we have to say that we put women they stand in front of the congregation on this one.
Okay. Okay. On that, yeah. Okay. On like I said, on creating these Disney or whatever, these princess stories, yes, of how they want uh their knight in shining armor to be. Yes. Yeah. We definitely uh have a whole movie
Hmm.
running in our heads. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I
I
agree.
we about to
This
sign
was
out,
good.
man. So
This was good. I missed you guys. Um, so we'll be back on next week, but for now, ladies, keep it simple. Men, have grace. Show grace. The lady has a body count.
man, I'm not
Can't
yo.
change
Women can
that.
show grace too. If they show
Yeah,
grace,
yeah.
if women show grace, they'll be able to get a man. Period.
Everybody show grace. Grace and mercy.
I want to
Have
give a
a
shout
Grace
great
and
out to
mercy.
whoever this person is right here who said we had a great show. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate. I can't read your. I know you're from a different country. It looks like Russian or something like that. But shout out to you, man. thank you for shout out to you, Miss. Thank you for supporting us from across the waters.
Yeah, all right, so we'll be back, God willing, if the creek don't rise and the sun get up. We'll see you next week. All right, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. God
I'll
bless
let
you.
you
Goodbye.
boy. We out of here.